Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So
All praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send peace and blessings on Prophet Muhammad,
so
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the R2F show, Return to Fitrah. Here at the Return to Fitrah channel, we talk about spiritual abuse, cults, deviant sects, and we try to guide people back to the Fitrah, the straight path of Islam, following the Quran and the Sunnah, the authentic Sunnah, the authentic path, the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the straight path of Islam, from paths of deviation and these sects that exist out there in the world, in the Islamic world. So today's show, there's an interesting topic that we would like to talk about, and it relates to when people separate from cult groups. And there's this idea of a lot of people like to think that they voluntarily have left, or like we say, like, I quit, I'm done with the cult, or I'm done with the group. When in most cases, and I would say probably 90% of the cases, is actually not that the person quit or actually voluntarily left the group. Usually it's that they got fired or they got kicked out of the group, and because they're disenchanted or because they're cut off, they like to pose or play this role of like, oh yeah, I left, I'm done with them. But given any opportunity to rejoin the cult or get back in the good graces of the cult, or rejoin the job, they would jump at that opportunity. So we want to talk about this nuanced area that a lot of people are in, because it's very important for not only for these people to recognize who they are and where they're at, but also people that deal with them. Because you could be dealing with somebody who you think like, oh yeah, they left the cult, they're done with the cult, but in actuality, they only physically left, but they haven't mentally or spiritually actually left the cult at all. And it has big implications of like how you deal with that person, how that person deals with you, and how like information comes from them, as far as like whether you're trying to get guidance from them or they're trying to get guidance from you, and these sort of things. And us being in R2F, and because of the job that we're doing, we run into this situation a lot. So we'll just chime in on anything. If everybody has any questions or any notes or any observations, you can enter them into the chat. We'll try to address them. We're going to try to go through today's show pretty quickly if possible. So with that being said, I know for me personally, there's a lot of times when people will say, oh, have you heard about so-and-so? He's off the juice, right? And I've heard this so many times throughout the years that anytime I actually hear that, I'm actually very skeptical when I actually hear that phrase. Because when I hear that someone is off the juice, to me, it can mean a variety of things. And usually what it really means is that person just doesn't function in the cult anymore. That's it. That's really what it means, right? When you actually get into questioning them, they still believe in like the cult leader. They still believe in all the ideology. They still like want to actually be down and go to the functions and all this stuff. But for some reason, either they got kicked out or they're just like not around like that anymore. Or like maybe a certain admin might have pissed them off or did them dirty. So they kind of like separated themselves. So
yeah, I would say probably like if you want to put a percentage on it, in my mind, it's probably 9 out of 10 people who are off the juice are in that category, just being disgruntled. Maybe sometimes it's less than 10% actually, of people who they mind their affiliation. They don't have they're not in good standing, put it that way. They're not in good standing with the Jamaat. And sometimes that gets mixed up with off the juice. They're just disgruntled. But if you talk to them, they hold a lot of the beliefs still. They're still because being on the juice, part of being on the juice is you actually being able to, I mean, this is my definition, you may disagree. My definition is like, if you're off the juice, then you're off the beliefs, you're out of the system. You're not, that ecosystem is not a determining factor in how you move in your life. So, you're still on the juice if you can't say that you're not on the juice. If you can't even say it publicly that you're still on the juice is still affecting you. You may have, just like a person who drinks alcohol, you may have stopped drinking, but the effects are still in the system. You're still drunk. You're still wobbling. So when you're off the juice is when you don't still have the lingering effects. You may not still be drinking the juice, but the juice is still messing you up big time.
Absolutely. And really, this is like, because in Islam they don't really kick people out of the religion. It's not how it happens. But in Christianity, right, back in olden times, right, the Pope could excommunicate somebody from religion at all. So like previously, like if you're Christian, hey, you're Catholic, he'd say, listen, you are no longer part of Christianity. You're on gone forever. That person in their head, in their soul, like, I'm still Christian. The Pope doesn't like me. If I can get in the graces of the Pope, I can be Christian again, right? This is what's happening with some people in Tmoa or in various other Sufi tariqas where they get kicked out. It's like, I'm still cool with everybody in the group, even though they all hate me. And they only hate me because of this person right here. And in my heart of hearts, I know this is correct. So have you really like left this belief to go back to Islam?
Yeah. I noticed like when I would encounter people, and because like especially when I first like went out public, and like everybody and their mama wanted to like talk to me, right? Call me up, text me, people I had no idea or people I haven't seen in decades, and all of a sudden everybody wants to have a conversation with me. And I noticed like a pattern with people that were actually they weren't people who quit the cult, they're people who got fired from the cult, right? That when I'd be talking, and I'm talking freely, like, yeah, Mubarak Jelani's a fraud, the cult leader's a fraud, this and that, right? And they would get noticeably quiet when I would say certain things, right? They would just like get silent and wouldn't respond. And they'd go back to like, yeah, admin, man, they just messing this all up. We could do so much. And it's like, okay, yeah, I see you. You're not really out. You're in. You want someone to like complain to that you feel, and it's kind of you kind of feel dirty a little bit afterwards sometimes because people use you, right?
Yeah.
They feel safe because they know like, okay, I know he's like way off, so I can go to this person and complain about Umnor, Ahmed, or whoever the cult leaders are, and I know it's not going to get back to anybody. And they're not going to tell on me, right? But they won't say that same statements that they said to you about complaining about the cult in front of anybody else, you know?
Yeah, I get like a telltale sign. I think it's you can take it to the bank. If the person you're talking to, if they have more energy for admin as opposed to Mubarak Jelani, or his beliefs, his teachings, and they have more energy, more anger. They're more energized and talking about talking about the problems, the issues, or whatever, and the wrongdoings of the administration. And a lot of times, it's not even have to do with religious. It's like the social and financial and kind of like cult power dynamic aspects. But when you hear them going on and on a lot about that, putting out members of the Shura Council and admin and members, and this how they did this and they put this person there and this is their main gripe. No, for sure, they're still on the juice. This is their issue. They're not out of the woods at all. Because if admin changes whatever it is that they're doing, they give him his house back, they give him his wife back, whatever the case may be, he's back to it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And really a good way to determine whether or not you're like actually out of there, right, is see how folks talk to you, right? When Tmoan folks interact with me, right, I have a brother who's like kind of Tmoan still, right? And he doesn't bring up Jelani with me because he already knows. You bring up Jelani with me, you're not gonna say Jelani Rahimahullah or the great things he did. No, I'm going to talk to you about this, right? So there's certain things that you can't even say around us, for example. Because you know how it's going to end. And the whole like admin thing, listen, I understand that the admins were the ones who came to your house and said, listen, bro, you're out, right? You're out of here. But them acting as regents on behalf of him, that means that he's in charge too. Like he still controls them at the end of the day. Like if I have a kid and that little girl goes out and does wild stuff, that's on me too. Cause I raised her a certain way. Like we're not gonna let this happen. So yeah.
One thing I know, and I guess we'll kind of use this to kind of segue about a specific person is that um what you have to kind of be careful of as well is when you actually do separate from the cult, you separate from the beliefs, like you're done. You're on following the Quran and Sunnah. You separated from the false beliefs. You separated from the administration, the cult lifestyle. Like you're totally out of it, right? And a lot of people, whether we like it or not, Allah actually uses, whether it's you could say hardship, test or trials, or some kind of like Allah basically pinches you or gives you some kind of burn sometimes to wake people up. Because a lot of people like they won't wake up until after admin took their house or took their wife or jumped them in the street or something, and then it's like, okay, I need what's going on here, and then that's actually you have to thank Allah for that because that was what Allah used to help wake you up. Now, I know for me personally, one of the things that I made the mistake of doing is thinking that people, just because they either went through the same similar experiences or maybe like they might have waken up from the cult as well, and you have like a shared experience. So you automatically want to kind of like identify with these people, kind of like, okay, I want to be partners with this person. But we have to remember, for the most part, the if the person was a tiger inside of the cult, most likely even outside of the cult, they're still going to be a tiger. They're just not in the cult anymore, right? And I know like sometimes we want to overlook those things just because we're like trying to give the benefit of the doubt, because we're trying to band together people like, okay, we have this one common, like, I guess you could say enemy, or one thing in common. Like we're against this. Maybe, it seems that way at first. And you're like, okay, I'm going to overlook all these things that I know are part of this person's character, but I'm going to overlook them. But remember, we have real lives outside of the cult. And that's the main objective of getting outside the cult, is to live real life and worship Allah, save yourself, save your families, and all these different things. And you have to be careful, because if you ignore, like, if this person is a fraudster, you know that they're a fraud inside the cult, odds are they're still going to be a fraud, even though they may have left the cult, right? And I bring this up just because we have a specific example, and just so that people know, like, we don't even really want to even talk about this individual, and we've talked about this individual multiple times in the past, sparing his name, trying to give him like the benefit of the doubt, trying not to make a big deal out of it. But it's really within the past like month or two, it's come to a point where we have to really make it publicly clear on behalf of the organization of R2F, Return to Fitrah, that this individual, whose name is Hanif J. Williams, we do not have anything to do with this person whatsoever. He's not companions with any of us. He's not associated with any of us. He's not connected with any of us. And I know he's disassociated or denounced himself from R2F multiple times, which we don't really even care. But we know that this, and I'm speaking for myself right now, this individual is a fraud, complete fraud on any level that you want to bring up. And we could go down specific examples, but we don't think it's necessary to do that. We just want people to know that if you're listening to us, right, Return to Fitrah, and you take us as a place of like reliable guidance or nasiha, don't trust this individual, right? This person is a fraud financially, I believe spiritually, Islamically, secularly, friendship wise, relationship wise, interpersonally. I wouldn't, if anybody ever asked me, should I deal with this person? My answer is going to be no, unless I see years and years of proven change within this individual. And the reason why we bring it up because we believe that this person is actively working against what we're trying to accomplish, right? Not only trying to go against like the dawah that we're given as far as like getting people outside the cult. This person's trying to amass his own following, get his own importance. And I'm speaking for myself, and I believe he's using Islam as a tool to do that, as posing as a student of knowledge, posing as someone who's reliable, someone who could be trusted, and he absolutely is not that. So if anybody's out there that has listened to our stuff or does listen to our content, and they also deal with this individual Hanif J. Williams, just know if he's representing anything that has to do with any one of us individually or anybody a part of R2F or anything, it is not true, and do not trust it. Simple.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Sheikh. So you mentioned that Hanif J. Williams you feel like that he's actively working against what we are trying to do. So why do you believe that? And like, what are some of the things that you could say that have led you to come to that conclusion?
So one of the main things is that we know that he contacts people.
Because before you get started, I'm sorry. Before you get started, the reason why I'm asking this question is because what we have been very open about what we're trying to do is we are trying to get people to return to Fitrah, the Surat Mustaqim, to leave shirk, to leave innovation, to leave these cults, these abusive cults that are harming people spiritually, affecting their Islam, having a negative impact against their Islam, socially, physically, in all types of things. So basically what we're saying is we're trying to help people to find the right path and stay on it in the most holistic way, Islamically. And we have said many times that we feel like that we are, in a small way, doing the work of the Anbiya, what they did and how they called their people back to Islam and back to the straight path. And so it's a heavy claim, because if we're saying that that's what we're doing, and then we're saying an individual is working against that, mm-hmm. that has some heavy connotations. I mean, if you think about the people who work against the Anbiya and the people who work against the callers to good and righteousness and the ulama of the past who have worked hard to try to get people on the straight path and to leave innovation, to leave shirk, to leave these things. And if that's what we're doing, those people who work against it are obviously, not good. So it's a heavy claim. So this is why I asked the question. If you feel like that he's actively working against us, what are some things that have led you to that point? Just to make it clear for the audience.
And just to be clear, when we talked about this early on, and if anybody's been following us from the beginning, we're not looking into anybody's heart, right? We're not saying what's in this individual's heart, what his intentions are. That is irrelevant because we don't know and we never will know. We base what we're doing off of actions. Now, your actions could give a glimpse into what your intentions are, but it happens all the time where people's actions betray their intentions. We're going to base what we determine off of a person's actions. So to be very clear, this individual will actively, if we put out some content, he will go behind the scenes, contact people directly that he knows engages with our content, and try to turn them directly against the message that we have given. And he doesn't do this by maybe posing a different position. For instance, I'll give an example. The janazah video that we did earlier about whether you should or shouldn't attend the janazah. It's okay to have a different opinion than what they are, right? And you present that opinion to people. He'll go to the extent of he will lie to individuals. He will slander us and talk, because people have contacted me and said, Hanif contacted me and told me all these different things about you, about what you said. And to the point where these people were like, I was done with you. I was pissed at you. I was mad at you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then they're apologizing to me because they said when they actually watched the video, they found out that every single thing that Hanif told them was false, was a lie. And this is multiple people. And this is multiple times. This is not just one instance. He's been doing this for years. We've just ignored him because it's, I mean, let's just what we always say, it's Hanif. This is whatever, who cares, right? But when you're actually now people, we don't know how many people he's done this to, that he's actually convinced them that we're the bad guys. And the results of his action, remember, we speak on the results, we speak on what actually happens. He's doing two things, whether he recognizes it or not. He's encouraging people to stay in the cult or calling people to himself. And those are the two options that he's given people, whether he realizes it or not.
Okay, so have you tried to reach out to him directly and bring to his attention some of the issues that you see with his approach, and how did that go?
Yep, we so individually, myself, I've reached out to him a couple times, maybe a couple, because I haven't dealt with Hanif in maybe 2 years, maybe now, right? And the first time that I was like, okay, I can't deal with him anymore, is from me actually trying to reach out to him, give him direct nasiha, not, we didn't go public or anything like that, just talk to him directly. And the response was totally negative. He went into his, if people know who he, how he acts, he went into, I'm a superstar and I don't have time for you. I'm above and better than you. Which, okay, go about your way. Also, just recently, maybe a few months ago, me and Mubarak, as you know, we tried to have a direct intervention at the request of third parties. Like, it wasn't like we just say, hey, let's go talk to Hanif. People asked, like, you guys need to try to talk to Hanif. What he's doing, his activities are ridiculous. And we tried to have an intervention, and Mubarak, you know as full as well as you, we couldn't even scratch the surface of the issues to address with him because he was doing so much maneuvering, lying, straight up lying, trying to wiggle out of addressing the issues that we actually couldn't even get into the issues that we wanted to address with him because he was trying to avoid it. So we have tried to reach out to him directly, personally. And I know I have individually, me and you, Mubarak, have tried jointly to do it. And I know other individuals have personally tried to address him. And everybody has failed, I know of.
So, I mean, not to put you on the spot, I guess I kind of am when you're not. I mean, hey, listen, I speak for the people. I know what people are probably thinking. They right. I know what angles they come from. So,
yeah.
All right. So, from what some people may think or say is that you seem like a person that has some sort of axe to grind. Maybe there's some jealousy. Maybe there is some. Maybe you have you have some issues with him because of some past interactions. So that's one angle. And another thing may be, okay, even if whatever thing you're saying is true, what benefit are you bringing to the people? What does it matter? Why put the man out on Front Street in this way? Even if everything you're saying is true, what benefit do you get? It seems like you're just you're like a tabloid now. You want to just expose someone, bring some soap opera type of situation, some drama, some fitna, but where's the benefit? Where's the benefit for you? Where's the benefit for the audience, for the ummah, and or where's the harm? Are you preventing some harm, or are you providing some benefit? What's going on there?
Yeah, so for the first point about like whether I have a personal axe to grind or whatever, like Hanif has not done anything that affects my life whatsoever, personally. Really, it's about how he behaves, what I see how he behaves in his character, and especially dealing with other people and other Muslims. And that's really it is. Like, there's nothing he has said or done, even him talking behind my back and going to other people, actually doesn't affect me personally at all. Like, there's no axe to grind. I actually, multiple times when we tried to reach out to him, we try to wish him the best, try to give him some guidance, give him some nasiha, sincere nasiha for him to actually improve himself. So, like, we would like to see Hanif change, correct himself. We made our suggestions of what we think he needs. He could take it or leave it. That's it. There's really no axe to grind. But as far as like why bring it up, and like if we're trying to just be like tabloid and just trying to put him out there and have stuff to gossip about, this stuff that happened with Hanif, I believe it's over a month now that it's actually like the last incident with him happened. And, you know, we could have easily just went on and just, you know, did a pop-up like we do when we talk about some crazy TMOA stuff that pops up. We wrestled with this, like, should we address it? Why should we address it? What's the purpose? And we had from very beginning, all of us individually and collectively, we're like, we need to make sure that whatever we're saying, it's for Allah's sake, to the best of our ability.
And real quick, I just want to make something clear to people who will be listening and who are listening, because what we may get into is gonna, you know, it may have some people feeling some trepidation or some indifference, but one of the principles, you know, of fiqh, one of the can't think of the word, but one of the foundation that you build certain rulings on is that preventing harm overrules your rights, right? So we have rights in Islam, and everybody has a right, but because you have a right to something, it still can be overruled if your right is going to harm someone. For instance, if you have an animal, right? It's your right. It's your animal. I don't have the right to kill your animal. For example, you have a cow or a sheep or something. It's your right. You're the owner. You're the controller of it. However, if that sheep is attacking me, for instance, I don't have a right to kill your sheep, but me preventing the harm gives me the right. It overrules. Preventing the harm overrules, right? Yeah. So everyone has a right in Islam to be, you know, respected. Everyone has you know, we should treat people a certain way as far as concealing your brother's faults and all these things. But if the harm, giving that person their rights, if the harm of doing that is going to be there where other people may be harmed or led astray, then that harm is going to preventing that harm is going to overrule another person's right. So for the people who may be thinking, you know, on a level of, well, what's the benefit, you know, just leave him be. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things you have to look at the possible harm that could come. So I wanted to make sure that was clear there before as you were going. I apologize for jumping in there. I meant to mention that first, but I forgot.
That's a good point, because that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing. It's not to just try to throw Hanif under the bus or to get some kind of revenge or whatever. Everything that we're saying, we gave our Hanif the opportunity to try to address the stuff before we actually went public saying anything. And again, we haven't even went into details about what exactly the stuff that he's been doing, right? We definitely could go into all those details year after year, incident after incident, from during his time in the cult to his time outside of the cult to his time in R2F, his time outside of R2F. We could go down and give a whole breakdown of all that, but it's really unnecessary, because the people that know Hanif, you already know. That's the first thing. What we're really trying to address is the people that don't know Hanif, right? Because that's where we're trying to prevent the harm, because the people that don't know Hanif and how he behaves, the things to watch out for, right? Then you could get caught up in his sweet talk. And there's a hadith about how, you know, beware of the preachers because speaking is a sort of type of magic, right? People that have the gift of gab and can say certain things and persuade people to think a certain way. And he does have that. If you don't know how he operates, right? Where he can make you think, for instance, the individual that contacted me, he had this person thinking that I was like a very bad person and did all these bad things, had him totally convinced until he actually listened to my video, and then he snapped out of it and was like, I should have known better. I know you're not like that, right? So the people that don't know Hanif, that don't know, like, say, us, that are actually like the face of R2F, right? We're not saying we're R2F. We have a whole group of people, but we're the ones that are the face. We're the front runners of this. So people are going to look at us and say, should we trust what they're saying? And now if you have someone out there, and our goals, we said it very clearly, to the best of our ability, we want to guide people to Quran and Sunnah for Allah's sake. And our original mission statement was, we want to guide one person. So by saying this, if one person is stuck out there in the mud is being induced or swooned by Hanif's back and forth double tongue talking. And this video, by us saying don't trust him, helps wake that person up and gets them to come closer to the Quran and Sunnah, to separate themselves further from the cult, further from the transgression, further from the shirk and all these different things. Then that's our job. We've done our job, right?
So
that's
are
really
you
why we're doing it.
are you saying that Hanif J. Williams is calling people away from Quran and Sunnah?
Yes, as far as cult members go. So now, if you're engaged with Hanif, like there might be some people that they're engaged with Hanif is not through the cult lens, right? And they get his beneficial reminders and they get his whatever. You have something else to worry about, right? You might not have the same. If you're benefiting from him sharing a hadith, alhamdulillah. If you're benefiting from maybe he went to your college and gave us they paid him to speak and you liked his khutbah and all that, alhamdulillah. But as far as if you're going beyond that and you're engaging in a situation where you have some sort of relationship with him where you depend on him and you trust him, my advice to you would be to be very careful, because as far as my experiences go and the people that I know that have dealt with him, your interests aren't his best interest. His interests are his best interest. So whatever that relationship you have with him, whether you're his mentee or you're someone that just messages him now and then, or you're someone that invited him to come to your MSA talk, I can almost guarantee you, or there, at some point, either he has or will use that relationship that you have with him in a way that you did not intend for that relationship to be used. Whether that's you just might have sent him a message like, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh, how are you doing? And maybe that message gets forwarded to another group. Look at my mentee who I give counseling to and help him with all his life problems. But all you did was give this brother salams. And he's taking that message and promoting it somewhere else to boop up his own standing to gain a following with other people's. Right. So
But how is this going to harm the individual? For instance, if the person is just being used by him, I mean, what's the harm? What's the harm if the mentee is used by Hanif J. Williams and he feels a little bit better about it? The mentee is not losing any health or wealth or, fame or fortune or anything. So what's the big deal? Where's the harm in it?
Well, there may not be any direct harm for the person that's being used like that. So you'd have to see how it plays out. But I would say, for instance, in our context, right? A person's when someone's using you and portraying your relationship with them in a way that you did not intend, when it comes back to bite you, is when you actually get in those circles where they're misportraying you in those other circles. So while you're by yourself with this individual, like say I'm using Hanif, say I'm Mubarak, say I'm using my relationship with you, I'm misportraying it with Amr. I'm saying, yeah, like Mubarak's my student, man. He basically worships the ground I walk on, and like he does anything, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm his sheikh, and he's my mentee. I advise him on all his marital problems and this and that, right? But I'm telling this to Amr. It might not affect our relationship because say I'm actually your mentee, right, Mubarak? Say I'm the one that actually gets advice from you. Me misportraying it to Amr doesn't actually make a big difference to you while I'm doing that. But the problem that's going to come in is when we all get together, right? And then all of a sudden there might be some way that I'm using you and putting you in a position with Amr that somehow you can be manipulated. And how that happens is it can happen financially, right? Say we all getting together in a business deal or whatever, and somehow you're misrepresented and your trust is violated, and all of a sudden somebody's money goes missing, right? So there's multiple ways it could happen that once you're mischaracterized or used in a certain way, it can come back to bite you. That's why I'm saying just be careful and question everything.
Yeah, and I would say that the issue is it's like drops in a bucket, or like just little small things that actually build up to a bigger issue, and it points to a bigger issue. And we have tried to address this, and that is that even those small misrepresentations, it may seem like, oh, what's the harm in it? But it's the motivations behind it where you find that a person will keep doing that and show that they will, what their motivations are is just to try to get some clout, some benefits, to keep inching up the ladder, or to gain more exposure, to get more influence, to get closer to people of influence. And if someone is willing to misrepresent themselves, or even worse, to misrepresent someone else, because then so if I pretend to be something, that's one thing, and then so it's me, I get caught, I get exposed or whatever. Yeah. But if I'm misrepresenting another person, they also are caught up in this web and thing. And it's like, it doesn't matter, even if I can use this person to get to somewhere. So they will always have that idea that you are expendable. You are just something to be used for their personal gain. And when you find a person that deals with other people like that, eventually those small things where you get burned on a small thing, it becomes a big thing. And I would say, me personally, I've seen that where I used to didn't care. I was like, yeah, it's irrelevant. These little small things, like you're trying to use me for clout, or trying to, just misrepresenting me, or over, representing the relationship or dealings, or just lots of things that were small annoyances, until it becomes some big thing. Where you get, in a person, sometimes they get high off this thing, the need for validation, the need for recognition. And these people that get used along the way, they just, they wind up being what's it called? Just, cannon fodder, or just like something expendable. And so that's one thing that I would say, that you have to be careful when someone, and I would say this is what I've seen. And before I even get into that, I will say that I personally think that Hanif J. Williams is not healthy. And I have said that on many occasions. I've tried to say that to him. I don't think he's healthy. I think that there's some psychological issues that are not apparent. They're not apparent to the people. And like Jafar was saying, there's some people who don't know him, the people who know him. But I think the most dangerous people is the people who think they know him. Yep. They're in the most dangerous situation. They think they know him, but they don't. And so he has a way of making you feel comfortable, or representing himself in a way that he's really not. But I don't think he's healthy. I think psychologically, emotionally, there's some major issues there. And we have tried to address it with him to no avail. And he just has gotten to the point where he's, harming people, and the thing is, we would hope that because we actually have some information, some insight, that if we can keep anyone else from being harmed by this person, because he's unhealthy, he needs help, then that's why we're doing it. That's number one. And on top of that, the thing where Islamically, religiously, if his, and this is from me, his need and his pursuit of recognition and validation has at several different times overruled the Islamic aspects of what should and should not be done.
Yes, 100%.
And so that's where it becomes an issue, where people may say, well, what's the harm? If he comes and speaks at your school, or if he comes to your masjid and gives a khutbah, you may say, well, what's the harm? The harm might not be immediate, but this type of individual who needs help, and who will at some point in time harm another person because of the pursuits that he has, and sometimes using Islam as a weapon, as a tool for recognition, for clout, for validation.
Yep.
Not the other way around. And it seems like a very, very heavy accusation to put against someone, but after constantly over and over and over again seeing this and ignoring hundreds of instances until it gets to a point where I would say maybe we should have really, really pressed hard on, instead of in years ago saying, oh, this is annoying or this doesn't make sense, but we overlook it. We probably should have done this, maybe 5 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But, and I'll say this, if a person is going to get some Islamic tarbiyah or counseling or admonition from him, I would say ignore it. Because you don't necessarily know what the motivations are. We have seen the motivations for delivering Islamic content be something else. It's actually something else. I would say if you're going to go into business with this person, I would tell a person, I would have to tell them 100% do not do it.
Yep.
And these are documented things. If you want to say, as far as you can go down the line of a lot of things where I can't even think of a single thing where a person has interacted with him on a personal level. That, and I'm not talking about these people that think they know him, because they haven't been in close enough yet.
Yeah.
Or if you're in a position where you can be used for him to elevate himself in the eyes of others, and get more validation, get more recognition, get more clout or whatever, then you may be safe until he can either reach your level or surpass it, or you're no longer useful.
Yep.
You've proven to not be able to be used.
Yep.
So,
come up with some, like, for instance, in a perfect example is when we addressed the situation with Wissam Sharif, right? He was using his alleged or whatever relationship connection he had with Wissam Sharif to get clout. Oh, I met him. He's a good friend. We recited on the beach and all stuff until the scandal happened. So if he's your good friend, right, then, like, if something happens with Mubarak, I'm still going to be his good friend. I'm going to be there to support. I'm going to help him, whatever. Even if he's in the wrong, right? I'm going to, like, yeah, you're wrong, and I'm going to help you. I'm not going to go on R2F and then release a statement and, like, yeah, Mubarak was my great friend, but damn him, he's the scum of the earth. No, that's not a real friend, right? Because it's exactly what Mubarak said. Until he was expendable, then he tried to use your pain, use the situation that you were in. Like, it's Sam is speaking to Wissam Sharif, right? We're giving this advice to him. He used your relationship, right? It didn't affect you at all. It didn't matter that he was portraying to everybody that you guys were great friends, until it came to the point where he could throw you under the bus and gain more clout by supposedly addressing his good friend because he's so against whatever you allegedly did. And that's a perfect example of, like, why this actually matters on every level. And as far as, like, the people that are coming from the cult of Tmoa, okay, specifically to you people who are in the midst of trying to escape, trying to get out of it, the people that have left or maybe on the fence and maybe have this position of, like, oh, there's a large group of people out there like, yeah, what R2F is saying is right, but yeah, I just don't like how they say it. They laugh, they do this, they do that, blah, blah, whatever their complaints are, right? And a lot of you are there specifically because you've been facilitated to that area because of Hanif. And he makes you feel comfortable being there, okay? What I'm saying to you guys is you should not be taking advice from this person because, for instance, if you look at the cult as a drug, right, an addiction, like Mubarak mentioned alcohol, right? It's alcohol, like you're alcoholic in the cult. You're on the juice, right? You're drunk on the Kool-Aid, and you're looking for help to become like, I need to get right off. I'm alcoholic. I need to get off of this. I need to get done. You don't go to the AAA meeting where the leader is an active drunk, right? But he's what do they call him? He's a socially the drunks that actually can function, a functioning drunk, right? Hanif's a functioning drunk right now, right?
A functional alcoholic.
Functional alcoholic, yeah. He's a functional. He could drink all day long, but he still can function. And like, well, is he drunk or is he? I got a family member like that, right? That is like, this dude doesn't stop drinking. He's drunk 100% of the time, but if you don't know him, you actually can't tell he's drunk. You don't go to the AAA meeting when that guy's ahead of it. Okay, you want to go to somebody that, oh, look, he has his like 25 years sober coin or whatever they do, and he's been off the juice. He's actually made it through the process. Hanif is still healing, recovering, traumatized from whatever he actually experienced in the cult, and he's trying to mask it with all these other different things.
I think a better
people to follow him.
Yeah. Go ahead. I think a better analogy. I understand the functional alcoholic who is leading a AAA meeting. That person actually might be able to be of some benefit because he himself is consuming the alcohol. He's having it, but he's able to function. So he may be able to give these people some good help in getting off alcohol, even though he doesn't take it himself, but he knows about the dangers. Right. So as long as he's not there saying, well, you can still function, just, so that may be okay. He's more like the person who is in charge of a task force to stop illegal drugs, yet he's a drug dealer himself, right? He is making money and benefit. He gets some benefit from selling. So he's a distributor, he's a wholesaler, and he's sitting in the meetings. He's talking about, hey, this is how you have to, let's set up some cameras here, or let's try to deter the dealers here. Let's get the corners. Let's sweep the corners or whatever. But at the end of the day, his business still is dependent on the finances that are coming from the sale of drugs. So on the one hand, he's saying, hey, lay away from these drugs, but yet, by those people still consuming, he gets some benefit, right? So the people who are halfway on the juice or whatever, whether they're sipping the juice, as long as they're there and he can then benefit clout wise, recognition wise or whatever, then he's going to get that. So however you get it, I mean, you being on or off the juice really doesn't necessarily matter. You listening to him, following him, that's the currency. So you're still consuming, and you're still on the juice, and he is a peddler of that, So that's to me, I say that's where it looks more so to me, where there are some aspects where he's still keeping you addicted to it. It's not like it's different from a person just saying, hey, stay away from that. But in order for him to benefit, you have to still be consuming it. So there's a conflict of interest.
You're muted, Jaffer.
I think you're on mute. You're on mute, Jeff.
I know we didn't want to give like too many specific examples, but it just reminded me of there's so many different examples, but the latest one with this whole drama with the janaza, right? Where he tried to use that as a way to boost himself up, gain clout, gain a following, address the people that already kind of like follow and listen to him and all that, right? And to me anyway, personally, I don't take advice from anybody that one isn't showing that they actually follow their own advice, like they're trying to do what they say, or it's proven like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. So how could you go and contact all these people and encourage all these people like, no, you need to go to the janazas and this and that, right? This individual that passed away, who was this Mr. Wadud brother, right, was actually good. He's good. He was good friends with Hanif's father, right? So actually, like a close, like you could think of your father and think of like you would probably call this person uncle if you're in Hanif's position, and you're telling people, no, you should go to the janaza. You yourself didn't go. You didn't attempt to go. So why are you telling? But there's so many examples like that where like it's just you. All these things are just used as a way to either be in the limelight, try to be in the forefront, just be direct opposition to whatever R2F says. Try to play this middle road. And one of the things that I've told Hanif this personally, and I'm gonna tell everybody else, is being in the middle doesn't just necessitate that you're actually on the right path, right? Just going for the middle course all the time does not. And Hanif tries to use that ayat of, you know, the Muslim nations or those that are in the middle or whatever as like this justification that we should just always be in the middle path. And then he tries to paint us as an extreme and the cults as an extreme, and that he's the middle. Okay, but the middle's not always the right way to go. When you're talking about, for instance, what's the middle path between shirk and tawheed? There is no middle path. Any path in between tawheed and shirk is shirk. It's misguidance, right? So there's so many examples like that where like, okay, don't just take the middle path, take the correct path. The correct path is the Quran and the Sunnah, right? We try our best. You might not like our personalities. You might not like that we laugh and joke sometimes. You might not like that we mock Tmoa and the people, and you take it personally because you love these people. We love them too, but we have whatever. You might not like that. But listen to when we're representing our best to represent the Quran and the Sunnah. This is what we want you to listen to. If we're giving our opinion, you can disagree with our opinion. But if we say Allah said, Rasul said, follow that. And you'll be good, and we'll be good, and we'll be happy with that.
And, you know, most people, just human nature, we're inclined to comfort. We're inclined to the path of least resistance. We're inclined to things that make us feel good, things that feel the most safe, that feel, like, and even sometimes being in a situation where everybody else is doing it, kind of like it makes you feel a little comfortable. And so the issue is where what we are calling a lot of people to, where they are involved in shirk, innovation, in these cults and things, it is not an easy thing to do. It's hard. A lot of times, socially, financially, relationship wise, everything, it's tearing at everything that you may be involved in. There's some pain going to be there, on a lot of different levels. So when someone is basically telling you, yeah, don't do this, shouldn't be that, but there's some way, there's some out where you can still continue to be involved in what you're involved in, and making it seem okay, making it seem fair seeming, making it seem acceptable, and justifying it for you. You already want to do it. You already want to stay in the cult. You already want to keep your social circle. You want to keep your little relationships. You want to stay there. It's comfortable for you. So when this person who seems like a person of authority, and they're talking about Quran and Sunnah, and from a lot of people, they don't know, they're ignorant. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, when you hear us saying, hey, listen, this is going to be hard, this is tough, you have to actually be steadfast on the straight path, and you cannot compromise. Mm-hmm. When someone's giving you what seems like from a similar source that where we're coming from, but all these outs and leeway and whatever, a lot of people, just human nature, you're inclined to it. Mm-hmm. Just like I said, it's like a person who they're saying, hey, listen, we got to get drugs off the streets or whatever. But hey, listen, you know what? I mean, listen, okay, not crack, but a little cocaine is all right. All right, do marijuana, okay, meth, but just, like kind of like giving you, saying, well, just over here, or making it fair seeming where you're never going to get off of it. And who are you going to come to for your justification? Who are you going to follow for, that, so that you get that feeling that, okay, because everybody wants to have that feeling like, all right, well, I am doing right. You want some sort of confirmation that what you're doing is okay. You want it to be made okay for you. So that's what it is. So the people that want to be in the cult, they stay there with the justification of, yeah, you can go to these shenanigans. Yeah, you know what? Don't be extreme. Be balanced. Be all right. So you had even this individual is probably one of the, in my experience, from what I've seen and how his interactions. I'm talking about Hanif J. Williams. His interactions in and around the cult. He is one of the biggest people who is being harmed and who is still stuck. He's still stuck. He's still on the juice for various reasons, but he's still on the juice. He's still being affected on a daily basis in his interactions, in his dealings, in what he will and won't say, who he will and won't say to, how he approaches them, and everything. He's being affected. He's still on the juice.
Yeah.
And so this is, this was the biggest thing, and what we talked about, why we even would mention it, is because there are some people who legitimately, they just don't know. They may be confused. They really don't know which way to go. They see us in our way and it's brash. It's kind of like it's a little bit bitter, sometimes, and so it's like, man, I don't really want to take it. Like we talked about a couple weeks back about apple cider vinegar and how, man, it's good for you, but just like sometimes yeah. I mean, it's like that. We might be like that bitter medicine. You got to take it. So listen, but if I drank a soda in the morning, it would be much easier, sweet. I'll do it, no problem.
Yep.
But the benefit ain't going to be there. Sometimes the medicine is bitter, so it's just we only are mentioning it for those people who they really want to do better, and they know something is wrong with the way that they are operating, but there's confusion being thrown in the mix by this person who says, hey, don't listen to these people, they're extreme XYZ. Meanwhile, they're in a worse way and being more negatively affected than even you. They're not even in a position to be able to help you because they have not been able to help themselves.
Let me give y'all a little this is one of the personal rules I live by. if someone attaches their picture next to a Quran ayat or hadith, you shouldn't listen to that person. just a little rule of thumb. If you see a person selfie or whatever and there's an ayat and there's a hadith, just disregard everything, right? Please. Okay. I know we went on a tangent, but if anybody has any specific questions or they're in a situation with dealing with hadith, especially, I know we kind of glossed over it, especially financially, right? I want to be very clear about this. This person has ripped people off, has defrauded people, right? Run Ponzi schemes, okay? So if you're in a situation financially and you're like, wait a minute, you can contact us. We can give you more information if it's needed for you in your personal situation. But just beware and just know, I don't want to curse. I'll just say that R2F does not F with Hanif, okay? Just real clear. We don't mess with him. He doesn't mess with us. So anything he says related to us, about us, if he's misrepresenting us, just know it didn't come from us, okay? Check with us yourself.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not any. I mean, I don't have any hard feelings towards him whatsoever. I really don't. I don't have with him. I don't have with him.
You see the chat? First answer.
I don't have with him.
I did not see the chat.
Shout out to Persian Empress though, because I think that she was like on this dude from day one years ago. She was never fooled.
Yeah, she was never fooled by him. But and it's not that we were fooled, man. We just kept giving the benefit of the doubt, and like the little annoyances, sometimes we just brush it off. But I mean, honestly, like I said, I think he's not healthy. I think he needs some help. Seriously. But I don't know that he's going to get that. But while he's not getting the help that he needs, he's dangerous. He's dangerous for people that are going to interact with him on anything after. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you? Okay, great. Anything beyond that, you're in danger. You're in danger. I mean, and I hate to put it like that, but it doesn't matter. Even a simple interaction, like even just, if you're having a conversation with him, it could be just innocent or whatever, but if there's a way to somehow boost some cloud or recognition or whatever, your conversation is going to be screenshotted and shared.
Yeah.
With whoever. Yeah. And that's something that really is not like if you're having a conversation with someone, you don't expect it to be used for something. It just, even if it doesn't harm you, it's like it's a little slimy. And it's like, oh, look, look, at this person. Sometimes I could go. I'm not going to go on and on about it. We could go on, but I'm saying it's not where
there's times like when you're having just and just to say, like, if you're in a position like we were in, where you're kind of just like entertaining him, right, and you're ignoring a lot of the different things, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't actually do him any good, and like Mubarak said, it puts you at risk. Because any simple interaction, he is the type and has done this where he will take whatever you're saying to him, whether it's text messages, audio recording, or whatever, chop it up to a certain place and make it look like something somewhere else where, like, maybe you look like an idiot, where you're asking him how to make a wudu or something like that. And you're like, wait, I know how to make a wudu. Why is he telling people I don't know how to make a wudu? And then when you get around these people, like, look at this nigga, he don't even know how to make wudu. Like, it's something as simple as that. That stuff that's the stuff he does.
Oh,
so you have to be very careful when you deal with him. And if you are in a position where you have his ear and he does seem like he is like listening to you, whatever, and you recognize the bull crap, you have to call him out on it. You have to, because I think the more people that call him out on it, the better chance that he might be like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe these people are right. All these people that are telling me the same exact thing, maybe I should seek some help.
Yeah. I like to commend my two brothers here for being very respectful and cordial and handle this in a proper manner. All right. But listen, they as nice as they were, they left out a few things that I think needs to be mentioned with Hadith. And as we mentioned, listen, it's nothing personal. Like, and I know it sounds that way because, like, hey, you guys are basically just bashing his entire like online persona and character, right? I understand that, right? I can say for myself, Hadith has never actually wronged me, right? And so, personally, right, I don't have anything against him, right? Okay, he hasn't done anything wrong to me, but he has done things to my brothers, right, and my close friends that he has wronged them. So, by association of them on their behalf, hey, I'm not gonna be cool with you because of what you did to them, right? And it's something about, like, and I try not to use psychology on this show because I haven't got my degree, right? Okay, but I've taken a bunch of classes, all right? So inshallah, one day I'll get this class. So Hadith, right? For you and your lawyer who's CC, right? Okay, watching the show, right? I want you to look up histrionic personality disorder, right? And just go through some of the symptoms and see how those symptoms may align with who you are, right? Because the need for attention, right? Attention seeking. Anytime something happens, right, with R2F, you are the first and only person to have refuted us is you. No one from any of the cults that we have talked about, all right? No one who we talked about publicly, be it the Noors, the Ahmed Pearsons, no one has refuted us publicly besides you. Not even the Dreamers, right? They've tried to, it just hasn't worked out, right? So you are the only one, right? The whole thing Jafar mentioned about Wizam Sharif, right? Wizam Sharif, you said in the most clout-chasing article of all time you posted was, hey, I had a viral video once upon a time with him in Florida. That why is that needed in depressor at all? It's not needed, right? And how do you really, like, the thing is, you have no one to blame but yourself, right? And this is what, like, as a man, you have to own up to this, right? The reason why you're not friends with these individuals is strictly your own doing, all right? Because folks change over time, but we haven't changed that much to where the great shift happened between you leaving entirely, right? Distancing yourself. Oh, I don't have anything to do with R2F. I don't know them. I wasn't ever associated with them in any shape or form, right? We are the people you grew up with, the people who actually knew you since you were a kid. We knew your father. We know your brothers and your family, right? I still see your sister at Jumna. Like, we're not going to pretend that we didn't walk together. That's not how it happens, right? So the reason why we're not cool is because of your own actions, your constant need to be validated, right? And at a certain point, right, you shouldn't need validation from your friends. It's just, hey, they respect me for who I am because I'm comfortable in my own skin. I don't go out of my way to do things that I can't do for Joffrey Mubarak. Hey, listen, what I'm good at, and I'm cool with that. And they're cool with me being cool with that. Hanif, what you're good at, be good at that. Trying to go above and beyond and do everything and try to be, if Joffrey benches 500 pounds, Hanif's going to say, I can do 700 pounds. For no reason at all. We know you can't. And that's okay. That is okay if you can't do that. All right. You have to be comfortable in your own skin, know what you're good at, and play your role perfectly. All right. Play your role perfectly. Stop trying to one up Joffrey whenever you can, going behind his back. Because you can say, okay, I haven't publicly gone and done a show on y'all. Yeah. But if you go behind closed doors and say, oh, Joffrey placed takfir up on all the Muslims, how dare he? Mubarak, he's a freaking liar, fraud, just like myself. No, you cannot do that. You can't go behind closed doors and say it's fine. No, that's not how it works. And you always want to be humble, right? I love community, right? Humble is good. Let's humble you. You do not have the social media following you once had. It's not there anymore, all right? At one point in time, that may have been who you are, right? You were this prominent, aspiring new Sheikh who is gaining followers. That has come to a halt, right? Everyone has their time online, or they're famous, right? We're not doing this for the clout or the followers or the views. That's not what we're doing it for. We're doing it to hopefully, inshallah, please Allah, right? That's what we're trying to do. So coming after us for our viewership and our channel size, your channel size is smaller. Let's be honest here, all right? I saw a video from you the other day with 5 views. Like we're not doing this anymore. I don't want to have to like go back and forth. You're not who you used to be. All right, it's not happening anymore. All right, so humble yourself. All right. Once upon a time, honey, yes, you were super famous, sure, but whatever. But now that's over. All right, just khlas. All right, yeah, I mean.
The thing is, and what you said reminded me of, it's Surah Al-Falaq, where we seek refuge from hasad. And what is hasad, right? It's like envy, jealousy, and how you define that, because, like, for instance, there is actually a healthy jealousy, right? You could be jealous of your companions and friends for what they have, but it's a jealous of like, oh, I want to be like them because they're better than me at that, or look at that, they're closer to Allah in this aspect. But it's a jealousy where you want them to be even better at what they're doing, right? You don't want to take from them. The hasad that we're talking about, that I'm convinced Hanif has, is where he sees someone that gets attention or gets a clout or gets respect or in whatever, and not only does he wants that, he wants to take it away from the people that have it, right? And that's where he goes into, like, he's going and talking behind people's backs, right? Challenging what they say and doing all these sorts of things, where it's like, Hanif, no one R2F, none of us, none of the people that we deal with have ever been jealous of you, right? We want you to succeed. We want you to get your following. We want you to become a real student of knowledge and we want you to do these things, right? And we want to do it too. We're all aspiring Islamically to not for clout, not for followers, whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure if there was some means, like somehow there was some opportunity for all of us to get off of YouTube and like still continue to get the blessings for doing dawah, every single one of us would just delete the R2F channel right now.
I would be so happy.
I would be done with this. We're out of here. Like, no more Hussein gotta have hassles, no more for videos. We can just go live our lives. Every single one of us would be out of this game, right? But we are doing it for Allah's sake, and we want you to. We've been challenging you for every time we address you to do the same. Don't worry about people recognizing you for your efforts. Don't worry about people taking like, oh, Hanif is knowledgeable, or Hanif's a student of knowledge, or Hanif's a traveling speaker, or Hanif has all these followers on Instagram or Clubhouse or whatever. Don't do it for that sake. Do it just for the sake of Allah, just because to get blessings. Because at the end of the day, if our channel had at least one more subscriber than the people who work at R2F, right? We're going to keep on doing what we do because we know one person's listening, and we're going to give dawah, and Allah's going to give us blessings, and it's going to help us. I need the blessings. But as soon as we hit, well, how many people is in our admin group? 5? As soon as we hit 5, we're done.
That's all we need. That's all we need.
Are you on mute, Mubarak?
For like hasad, right? Hasad is when you are jealous of the other person. You want what they have, and you also want them to lose what they have, right? So there's a jealousy. Like right now, I can say that I secretly am jealous of Jafar. Why? Because he can live more than I can. And I don't. It's not even secretly. I told him that I was secretly like chasing him, like trying to catch him, right? And so I don't sit there. I mean, not all the time. Sometimes I hope he like wobbles a little bit, but I don't want him to get hurt. But I don't. No, seriously. But like I want him to do well, but I do want to catch him, right? So it's a thing where I think about like a lot. It's probably unhealthy how every time I go in the gym, I'm like, I got to catch but still, the thing is that I have a jealousy, like the fact that, okay, he's ahead, but the only way that I can catch him is by me consistently, doing what I need to do, and not really like, it's like if whether he does his work or not, I'm not going to benefit unless I do my work. I don't hope, I hope he gets a shoulder injury and that way he can only bench 215 now. So This is the equivalent of what some people do. It's like, well, I'm not where you're at. So now hopefully I can do something. I can affect you negatively. I can get, chop your legs out from under you, cause some sort of scandal in your life or whatever to cause you to be dropped down in the eyes of the people instead of you just continuing to raise yourself up. You shouldn't be chasing that. But this is the type of things that we have seen happening on a pretty consistent basis. It's like, okay, if we, if me and Jafar were working on at a sock stand, we're selling socks together on the side of the road or whatever, we're doing it together, we're benefiting. And then one day I decide to set up a sock stand on the other side of the road. Mm-hmm. And then trash his sock stand or whatever. What is that? Oh, is that just healthy competition or whatever? We were both benefiting, but maybe I just wanted to be my sock stand, and instead didn't just compete head to head, but instead also to attack the other person. These are the type of things that's been going on where it's like you want to set up a R2F chat group. Okay, let me set up a chat group that does the same thing, but call it something else out of the blue. But
back to the past.
but you allegedly don't have time for giving dawah to these type of people. You want to we had R2F conference. Oh, I'm going to organize a peace conference. Why? It literally is the same exact thing that we. Like, what's going on here? So instead of, it's like everything that, and honestly, this is the thing. We don't even care. We do not care if a person does exactly what we're doing. It won't matter. So I mean, someone could set up a channel that's return to, the path or return to Salat or whatever. Yeah. You could literally do the same exact thing. Do your shows on Thursday night or whatever. Whatever. We wouldn't care if that's what you're doing. Okay, great. We'd be like, all right, great.
Hey, do a show on this. Here's some ideas. Do this.
We have been saying for years, if someone starts another channel, we will say it's just like. And I know for some reason, right, people have the idea that the Sheikh Jelani Exposed page is started by either myself or Jafar. I can assure you, I do not use Facebook that often, so I'm definitely not using that page. But that page was created, and guess who supported it? We did. All right, so people are like, oh, it must be our page. It's not. But again, if you're going to make a YouTube channel, I'll help you out. If you're going to make I'll help you out. I promise you, I'll help you out as much as I can. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like it just lots of things that we are doing that at one point in time you were helping with or trying to be a part of or whatever, and there's actually no explanation for why. Number one, you decided to branch off and do the exact same thing, even though you were too busy and too famous allegedly. I listen. A couple $100, you can get as many subscribers as you want. You can actually if you have some money, you can pay a little bit of money and get 100,000 subscribers. All bots, but subscribers don't even matter.
Right.
But the point is, if you're too busy, too famous, or too whatever, not all of a sudden doing the same things that we're doing, and that's one thing. Okay, we were working together on these things, but now you're not. Okay, fine. You're doing the same things, eerily similar, all these same, almost duplicating the thing. Like, okay, be original. But then on top of that, to then, you could possibly have give an excuse. Maybe, okay, maybe it's just, difference of operational differences or whatever. But then attacking, us and doing shady things, trying to, do all types of underhanded things, it's like, nah, it becomes clear, it becomes obvious. And the thing is, and for anybody who is doing da'wah, and for anybody who is doing this job of the messengers, you have to understand that you're going to be faced with similar, on your level. It's not going to be the big. You're not going to run into Abu Jahl seriously, or this type of thing. But a mini one. Yeah, because Allah says that He set up for the messengers a worthy like adversaries, and Allah says this in the Quran, how they have adversaries, and Allah does have a reason to give them some opposition so that they can earn the reward. So it's not going to be easy, and so we have to understand that we're going to have those little the Jaloon that are going to be trying to distract us and take us off the path and try to keep us from giving the da'wah to the people. That's why they're there, and we're not saying that anybody is a munafiq or a kafir or anything like that, but shaitan, uses people to distract you from what is going to be most beneficial. And so we ourselves have to know that, and anybody who's doing da'wah has to know and understand that these things, you will be faced with these types of oppositions, especially when you start to get traction, especially when you start to make a dent in the target audience. When people start to say, hey, yeah, you know what, maybe they're making sense. Or when the people, the deviant people start to say, hey, we got to watch out for them. Hey, don't listen to them. Stop. Stay. Yep. When that starts happening, you have to understand they're going to start to attack you. Now, the Tmoa, the Tmoans, who have been like, have gotten like 99% of our energy up until this point. It's definitely going to change, but they have. I mean, they haven't put up much of a fight. I mean, they really just getting slaughtered. They're down 100-0. Yeah. But the one person who has actually actively made the biggest effort, openly, secretly, behind closed doors, in the open, and all these other type of ways, has been Hanif J. Williams. It's been him, So that should, I mean, if that doesn't say that there needs to be some changes to his approach to him, then, because you can look at us, what is it that we're saying? If you look back at all of our videos and all of our things, okay, yeah, there's some jokes in there, but we've been consistent on telling people how they should be, how they should operate. So we never changed. So if a person was there with us in agreement or whatever, then all of a sudden, and you got to see, and I don't want to drag it on too long, and it's not a thing. I don't want it to seem like that it's some sort of personal attack against him. We really went back and forth. We didn't even want to address him. We really did not want to. But the thing that put us over the edge and said, hey, we need to do it because of the people who may hear and still deal with him that will be harmed. We dealt with them, and we dealt with annoyances and some harm and some issues and some fitna, but we're fine. We got over it. But we can't. Everybody is not going to be able to, And if we could have prevented some harm from someone, as Rasulullah ﷺ says, that Iman is 70 branches, and the lowest of which is just removing something harmful from the road. Yeah. So if we look at that, and if we say we can remove some harm from the path of some Muslimin that might have to deal with this person, and then later on they be harmed, they go into business, or they start to deal with him in one of the different ways that they might deal with him, and they say, man, I got jacked up, I got harmed, I got hurt by dealing with Hanif J. Williams. And we could have prevented that by saying, hey, listen, everybody that runs across this guy winds up getting jacked up. They wind up getting some harm. Then that's the reason why we had to do it. And we tried to deal with him directly. It went nowhere. And even in correspondence and dealing with him, he was just way over the top, he brought this on himself.
His alleged lawyer is watching this show, and I'm pretty sure we'll get a cease and desist, just like from William Reed, and like it's childish.
Hey, well, if that happens, great, because we actually didn't even give any details. We didn't give any details about what the real issues. We're just telling people you have to worry about. If we go into detail and list the things that he has done, is doing, and all these things, and bring on the witnesses and people like that, no, I guarantee he doesn't want that. Him or his lawyer, whoever it is, if they exist. Yeah, but so we're actually leaving the details out, trying to at least not embarrass the man, but at the same time, he has a right for us not to just embarrass him for no reason, but the harm that could be caused by people still dealing with him in a meaningful way overrides his right. So we ask Allah to accept it from us, and we hope that he gets the help that he needs, and that he returns to hopefully being a benefit for himself, first of all, his family, and does good deeds, and Allah accepts him from him and forgives his sins, and accepts him and his family and all of us in the Jannatul Firdaus.
Ameen. So we're gonna kind of wrap it up here. If you have any questions, I don't think there's any in the chat, but we're gonna be back on again next month, inshallah, unless something crazy happens and we need to do a pop-up show. Stay tuned to our weekly shows that we've been putting out. We've been trying to put out new content every week, so tune into that. If you have any ideas or anything you want us to cover specifically, feel free to email us at emailr2f@gmail.com. Again, we thank everybody for listening to our show, and we appreciate all of the people that are tuning in. And we really want people to take the information that we're giving and find a way to make it useful in your life. Especially, we want people to do exactly what we're doing, which is give dawah to people, right? And that is the end, in my opinion anyway, that is the end goal of all this. Like, if you talk about your journey from being in a cult to leaving to the cult, that end goal is to give back, right? Like when you talk about when you make it rich and famous, what do you start doing? Charity. You want to give back to society, give back to your hood or whatever. And this is how you give back. And it's not only giving back, it's actually helping you out, because every word that you say, every word that you write, is trying to guide someone to the Quran and Sunnah, to first and foremost, get them off of the shirk, right? Get them away from the shirk. Secondly, get them out of the innovation. And then, thirdly, get them out of the oppression and transgression. Just like Mubarak said, you want to remove the obstacle from the road. All the people that are in a cult are actually in a giant obstacle where they're being oppressed, transgressed, whether they recognize it or not. And if you could get them away from that and guide them back to the Ummah, where that's where the safety is, there's tremendous blessings in that. And we want you to do that, and hopefully our words will inspire you to do that, because we're going to get some of those blessings too. It's a little selfish, we know, but hey, we're all going to die. We're all going to stand before Allah alone, and we need everything we can get. So,
I'll say someone made a comment that a good tip for Hanif J. Williams to benefit and to help himself.
Here you go. Someone serious for y'all.
I couldn't keep it together, man.
I was looking for the comment, like.
Nah, I already knew it. He said comment.
Visit
I knew it was coming. I was like,
oh my God! I was trying to, how like you try to hold it to laugh, like I was literally, my chest was burning. I'm like. Anyway, yes, I need visit. If you visit Lahut Lamakan, possibly. And if you're wondering where it's at, it is in Pakistan. You can go there, and maybe that might help you.
I think I might start a LLC, but who's Leprechaun Logistics, you know? And,
one of these days when we're all set and we have a space in our lives when we have to make a trip to Leprechaun. We just gotta do it. We just got a group trip. We just gotta go.
Right. Listen, Josh, you are your own. That is an 18-hour flight.
It's the 1 day trip, like a layover. We gotta hurry up and do it. Yeah. Get back on the plane and go somewhere else.
I don't even know if you can lay over there, bro. You have to like fly to Islamberg and then take a 3-hour bus ride, then take a car 2 hours. Like I do all that time, bro. It's way far out the way, bro. Shout out to all these going there, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm good, man.
Well, we'll just make our own. We'll go to some place in like Nevada, find a cave somewhere.
Yeah. hey, you know what?
Canacon.
Hey, stay tuned. We might come out with a Leprechaun episode.
The real Leprechaun. Did Ollie come to America first?
Hey, if we want to raise some money, we do a Leprechaun America.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Hey, 5 hours to get in. How many Indians are gonna pop up?
All of them. Like, this is where the great Ganesh came as an elephant.
You see, this is why people don't like y'all, man. Y'all just laughing at joke.
You're part of the problem, sir. What do you think this is? Okay. All right. Alhamdulillah. How do you listen? What's the best for you going forward? Inshallah, you get the help you need and improve going forward so that this doesn't happen to you in any future or current friendships that you may have. All right. So inshallah, that will work out for you. Best luck to you on your master's degree that you have going. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-azim. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, can we sign off or do we have to leave it open?
Well, I gotta end it here, so stop.